Right, they'll be ready for
Muffin
you.
girl.
Thank you.
Excellent, no problem.
Thanks, Billie.
First, over to...
In her latest role as the Lady of the Night, Belle de Jour.
I have certain rules. Rule 1, keep life and job separate. Personal, work. Private. Professional. Hannah, Belle, and never the twain shall meet. Rule number 2, stay in control. They sit down, I stand up, get the money first. No problem. All right, bye. Rule 3, safety. Always check in with the agency. So if I say no problemo instead of no problem, there's a problem. And last, but definitely not least, work out what the client wants as fast as you can and give it to him.
Ooh, you see, this is a very raunchy, and as you saw from there, it's ITV2 tonight at 10 o'clock it starts. So Belle de Jour, first of all, is a real person who started to write her blog, which was turned into books, which now has become the television show.
Yeah.
And you met her.
Yeah.
No one else knows her identity, or very few people know her identity.
Yeah, very few. She's really quite secretive about the whole thing. I imagine she would have to be.
Well, but she does exist, because people thought she was a bit of a hoax.
Yeah, I heard that. She does exist. We met and we talked in length, yeah.
And what is she like?
She's really quite funny, actually, and really charming, and seemingly together, and very well-read, and she's a good-time girl.
Not sad?
No, I didn't detect any sadness. And I went in there thinking those kind of things, because you think there must be some kind of tragic tale behind all of this. But I couldn't see that.
Lonely?
Possibly lonely, but, you know, she did have a tight, she had a group of friends that surrounded her, but like 4 or 5 friends. And they were all, you know, well aware of what was happening.
How did she get into it?
Basically, what happened was she went to a dinner party with her friend, and it turned into this orgy. And then when she left, she noticed that she'd been given, you know, a serious amount of cash. And then she thought, wow, this is easy, and I'm quite comfortable with this. And she's, you know, she's a highly sex woman. She loves, you know, the act of sex, and she really enjoys earning a lot of cash, and she prefers the company of men. So I'd say it's ideal for her.
She managed to keep her identity so secret. No one seems to keep their secret these days. So if she was Belle de Jour to her clients, so her clients know who she is, and they've never ratted on her and said, oh, by the way, she lives here, or this is where she operates from, and there's been nothing like that.
No. No.
Which is unique and extraordinary.
Well, I suppose if they stitched her up, she could quite possibly stitch them up. You know, it's a very secretive exchange. You know, it's.
But the world that you see,
investing a lot,
of course, the world that we've seen, because I haven't seen the programme, or watch it. We'll all watch it tonight. But the trails seems beautifully shot. It seems very clean. Which is not what you imagine of that world. You don't imagine it to be clean and beautifully lit.
It's really hard to get your head around the fact that there are women that work that way, that genuinely enjoy it, and they've chosen that, you know, career path. And people can't get their heads around that, you know, and I found it hard to comprehend at first. But, you know, when I met Belle, she's very glamorous, she's very well turned out, she's seemingly in control of her life. And so that was we're telling one girl's story. You know, this isn't the case with so many other women. It's a very different tale.
And it's the top end of that market.
It's the top end. She's a high class. She's an escort, you know, and she's very selective.
Call it what you want, escort, whatever, but basically prostitute.
Right.
And there's so much underneath, like the iceberg. There's much more underneath. That is
and we don't ignore that in the show. I mean, this is why you have to see the show really in its entirety, because the first show is very much about her being unapologetic and going, this is me, this is why I've done this, get to know me, possibly understand, you know, why, whatever. And then as the series progresses, you see the darker side of things and how lonely and isolating it can be, and how you're living a kind of dual life because you can't tell anyone. You know, you're moonlighting endlessly.
So for you to choose this role now at your age, 25?
5, yeah.
25, so still a very young actress.
Yeah.
This role could define you for a little while. You might always be known, you know, before it's Billie Piper Doctor Who, or Billie Piper Chris Evans, you're now going to be Billie Piper Hooker. Did you see that sex thing she did?
Yeah.
And that's a big one to take on as an actress and think, I'm going to have to live with this for a while. So was it a hard decision to take the job?
Yeah, but not just for that yeah, it was tough. It was really hard to make that choice because you feel slightly responsible and you always fear that people won't be able to accept that that actually exists and occurs in this world, you know. But it was more about that. But, you know, everybody just remembers you for your last thing endlessly.
But then for you, having spent a day in all sorts of positions and situations and underwear and all of those things...
This is where the giggling begins.
Well, no, I'm not going to giggle about this one, because when you get home, do you suddenly think, oh, some woman actually has to do that, and how do I square that?
Yeah, I mean, I would leave work feeling slightly dirty and uncomfortable, and that's how I know I couldn't be part of that world, you know. That's why I couldn't go there and disconnect and emotionally detach myself. I couldn't do that. But, you know, there are so many women that do it, and in no way are we advocating it or saying that this is all right. We're just telling one story.
All right, but having said that, it is a hell of a good laugh when you're doing some of those scenes, I'm sure.
Well, it does make... I don't know if you two... I don't know if you get through the day. You'd be in hysterics.
Oh, we'd be useless. Well, we had a nightmare this morning because there was a clip we were going to show, and we were all watching very carefully, thinking, "Oh God, is that all right? Is that okay? I mean, there's a little bit of nipple there we're not supposed to see," and all of us had missed the fact that the bloke hasn't got any clothes on.
I know. The first, it's all quite full on, and if you don't really want to enter into that world, you shouldn't watch it. But it's really insightful. It's a world that's, you know, it's a taboo subject. Nobody really knows anything about that exchange, and it's interesting.
Well, it's cost you a fortune in lingerie because you say yourself you're a bit of a tomboy.
Yeah.
And then you're spending £1,000 worth of, you know, sort of hard-earned cash on slinky underwear.
I don't even wear it. I just buy it and look at it and go, "Isn't that beautiful?" And before I'd be wearing, you know, tatty old bras and much more comfortable in those, but yeah, it's become quite an addiction.
Did you find, obviously, when you're preparing for a role like that, you want your body to be slim and blemish-free and...
Well, yeah, because
toned?
Well, they say they told me about the nature of the show, and you know, obviously, if you're signing up to play a prostitute, you're going to spend a lot of your time naked, and so you just have to get over that initially because you can't be prudish and shy on the day because it's so time-consuming. Do you know what I mean? So, so you do think about it, and then they say, "Oh, by the way, it's in HD," and then you're like,
High
definition.
We banned it in here. We're not having it in here.
I hate it.
If anyone really saw what we look like, not a chance.
Forbid.
High definition nakedness, no.
I know, but I was endlessly being spray tanned and.
What's your dad gonna say?
I don't know. It starts to make me scratch. My poor dad. I think he'll be all right. He's never really. I can't shock my dad. I failed. He's really unflappable. He has to be really with me.
But if you gave us his number, we'll ring him just before 10 o'clock. Keep him on the phone for an hour, if you like.
Yes.
Shall we do that?
Yes.
Commentary.
I have a very serious. You know, we were discussing that, but we have a very serious question to ask you. Who did you sleep with last night?
Chris Moyles, of course.
Say it properly.
I slept with Chris Moyles last night.
OK, and how are you going to get the others in? Because you've still got Martin, Wood and Amazing to get in.
And Radish. No, we got Radish in.
Yeah,
well, I said Radish, but you've said it now. That's
yes, you think we don't know, but this morning on Radio 1, Chris Moyles challenged you to say the words Radish, Martin, Wood, Amazing, and I slept with Chris Moyles last night. That's not something you hear very often. To say all those things on the programme.
What about...
You've rumbled.
Yeah. I maybe failed my mission. I have
don't
to
get
say,
any
you're
points.
amazing. That's one more. And It's really hard to find a way to use the word wood.
You've done it, though.
Yeah!
Anybody, did you... What is the real name of Marty Pello?
Well, Martin's our director.
Oh, Martin's our director. That'll do. Very good.
Martin.
Good luck tonight.
Thank
It's a Secret Diary of a Call Girl tonight, ITV2 10 in 8 parts. And thank you, Billie.
Thank you.
Very nice to meet you.
See you tomorrow.
Nice to meet you.
Bye now.
Bye.
Later, a carriage clock tempts the dealers as Dickinson's Real Deal heads to Cheltenham at 2 o'clock, followed by Katie Melua, Glynis Barber and Alan Titchmarsh. That's at 3 o'clock.
Look.